Hello, welcome back. The emotional intensity that can arise within close relationships is undeniable. Whether friendships, family ties, or professional bonds, moments of vulnerability often push individuals to their breaking points. This is exactly what transpired between Rebecca and Joni Lamb, two prominent figures whose personal conflict played out in front of an unsuspecting audience. At the heart of this clash was Doug Weiss, a man whose presence had been a source of strength and guidance for both women. But, as tensions mounted, Rebecca reached her breaking point, snapping at Joni over their shared connection with Doug. What followed was a dramatic moment that would shake their relationship to its core. Rebecca and Joni Lamb had been friends for years. Both women were known for their public roles and their deep spiritual connections, which often brought them into the spotlight. Doug Weiss, a counselor and mentor, had played a significant part in both of their lives, offering wisdom, guidance, and support. For some time, their relationships with Doug were cordial and built on mutual respect, but there had always been underlying tensions that had gone largely unnoticed by the public eye. As time went on, subtle shifts began to occur in their dynamic. Joni and Rebecca had different ways of approaching their spiritual journeys, and while they had managed to maintain a facade of unity, personal issues were beginning to surface. With Doug serving as a key figure in both their lives, his influence inadvertently created a rift between the two women, particularly when he made decisions that seemed to favor one over the other. In any relationship, unresolved tensions can slowly build up and, if left unchecked, lead to explosive moments of confrontation. For Rebecca and Joni, these tensions had been simmering for quite some time. On the surface, everything appeared to be fine, but behind closed doors, both women struggled with competing emotions: jealousy, resentment, and even feelings of abandonment. Rebecca, who had always viewed Doug as a mentor and a confidant, began to feel that his attention was increasingly focused on Joni. At the same time, Joni, who had always admired Doug's wisdom, felt that Rebecca was becoming too dependent on him, leaving her in a position where she couldn't rely on their friendship as much. The more time Rebecca spent with Doug, the more Joni felt alienated and dismissed. These emotional undercurrents were exacerbated by the demands of their public lives. Between media scrutiny, personal struggles, and the weight of expectations, both women were at their breaking points, struggling to balance their friendship with the influence Doug had over them. It wasn't long before their unresolved issues would come to a head. The fateful moment occurred during a private conversation between Rebecca and Joni, one that was initially meant to address their differences. Tensions had been rising for days, and what started as a seemingly innocuous discussion escalated quickly. Rebecca, perhaps sensing that she had been pushed to the limit, snapped. She confronted Joni about her increasing closeness to Doug, accusing her of undermining their friendship for the sake of personal gain. The words exchanged were sharp and cutting, filled with frustration and betrayal. Joni, caught off guard by the intensity of Rebecca's outburst, tried to defend herself, but the emotional weight of the conversation was too much to bear. Doug, though not physically present, loomed large in the conversation. His influence over both women was evident, and it became clear that his involvement in their lives was part of the deeper issue at play. To Rebecca, it felt as though Joni had been claiming Doug's attention and approval, leaving her feeling ignored and left behind. To Joni, Rebecca's dependency on Doug was alienating, creating a growing sense of isolation. The aftermath of that emotional explosion was nothing short of heartbreaking. Both women were left with feelings of hurt, betrayal, and confusion. Rebecca felt as though her worst fears had been realized. Her friend had distanced herself, choosing Doug over their shared connection. Joni, for her part, was deeply hurt by Rebecca's accusations and the harshness of her words. The moment of conflict, though raw and intense, created an unspoken chasm between them. Publicly, neither Rebecca nor Joni immediately addressed the fallout. Fans and followers were left to speculate, unsure of what had transpired between the two. Behind the scenes, however, the emotional wounds ran deep. Both women took time apart, reflecting on their feelings and the role that Doug Weiss had played in their lives. What led to this heartbreaking moment? The root of the conflict can be traced back to the complexities of human emotion specifically, feelings of inadequacy, jealousy, and emotional dependency. Rebecca's outburst at Joni was not just about Doug Weiss, but rather about her own feelings of being sidelined,